Page 4 of The Adventures of Master F.J. by George Gascoigne. Recording is in the public domain. This said, she kept silence, when Ferdinando, somewhat astonied with her strange speech, thus answered: Mistress, although I cannot conceive the meaning of your words, yet by courtesy I am constrained to yield you thanks for your good will, the which appeareth no less in lamenting of mishaps, than in rejoicing at good fortune. What experiment you mean to try by me, I know not, but I dare assure you that my skill in experiments is very simple. Herewith the instruments sounded a new measure, and they passed forwards, leaving to talk, until the noise ceased. Which done, the gentlewoman replied: I am sorry, sir, that you did erewhile deny love and all his laws, and that in so open audience. Not so, quod Ferdinando, but as the word was roundly taken, so can I readily answer it by good reason. Well, quod she, how if the hearers will admit no reasonable answer? My reasons yet be nevertheless, quod he, in reasonable judgment. Herewith she smiled, and he cast a glance towards Dame Elinor. Ah, ascances art thou pleased. Again the viols called them forthwards, and again at the end of the brawl, said Ferdinando Jeronimi to this gentlewoman: I pray you, mistress, and what may be the second cause of your sorrow sustained in my behalf? Nay, soft, quod she, percase I have not yet told you the first, but content yourself, for the second cause you shall never know at my hands, until I see due trial of the experiment which I have long desired. Why then, quod he, I can but wish a present occasion to bring the same to effect, to the end that I might also understand the mystery of your meaning. And so might you faile of your purpose, quod she, for I meane to be better assured of him that shall know the depth of mine intent in such a secret, than I do suppose that any creature, one except, may be of you. Gentlewoman, quod he, you speak Greek, the which I have now forgotten, and mine instructors are too far from me at this present to expound your words, or else too near, quod she, and so smiling stayed her talk, when the musique called them to another daunce. Which ended, Ferdinando, half afraid of false suspect, and more amazed at this strange talk, gave over, and bringing Mistresse Fraunces to her place, was thus saluted by his Mistresse: Servant, quod she, I have done you great wrong to have daunced with you, considering that this gentlewoman and you had former occasion of so weighty conference. Mistresse, said Ferdinando, you had done me great pleasure, for by our conference I have but brought my braines in a busie conjecture. I doubt not, said his Mistresse, but you will end that business easily. It is hard, said he, to end the thing, whereof yet I have found no beginning. His Mistresse with change of countenance kept silence, whereat Dame Fraunces rejoicing, cast out this bone to gnaw on. I perceive, quod she, it is evil to halt before a cripple. Ferdinando perceiving now that his Mistresse waxed angry, thought good on her behalf thus to answer: and it is evil to hop before them that run for the bell. His Mistresse replied: and it is evil to hang the bell at their heeles which are alwayes running. The Lord of the Castle overhearing these proper quippes, rose out of his chaire, and coming towards Ferdinando required him to daunce a Galliard. Sir, said he, I have hitherto at your appointment but walked about the house. Now if you be desirous to see one tumble a turn or twain, it is like enough that I might provoke you to laugh at me. But in good faith my dauncing dayes are almost done, and therefore sir, quod he, I pray you speak to them that are more nimble at tripping on the toe. Whilest he was thus saying, Dame Elinor had made her congé, and was now entring the door of her chamber, when Ferdinando, all amazed at her sudden departure, followed to take leave of his Mistresse. But she more than angry, refused to hear his good night, and entring her chamber caused her mayd to clap to the doore. Ferdinando with heavy cheere returned to his company, and Mistresse Fraunces to touch his sore with a corrosive, said to him softly in this wise: Sir, you may now perceive that this our country cannot allow the French manner of dancing, for they, as I have heard tell, do more commonly dance to talk, than entreat to dance. Ferdinando hoping to drive out one naile with another, and thinking this a meane most convenient to suppresse all jealous supposes, took Mistresse Fraunces by the hand, and with a heavy smile answered: Mistresse, and I, because I have seen the French manner of dancing, will eftsoons entreat you to dance a Bargenette. What meane you by this? quod Mistresse Fraunces. If it please you to follow, quod he, you shall see that I can jest without joy, and laugh without lust. And calling the musicians, caused them softly to sound the tinternall, when he clearing his voice, did a la Napolitana apply these verses following unto the measure. In prime of lusty yeares, when Cupid caught me in, and nature taught the way to love, how I might best begin, to please my wandring eye, in beauties tickle trade, to gaze on each that passed by, a carelesse sport I made. With sweet enticing bait, I fished for many a dame, and warmed me by many a fire, yet felt I not the flame. But when at last I spied that face that pleased me most, the coales were quick, the wood was dry, and I began to toast. And smiling yet full oft, I have beheld that face, when in my heart I might bewaile mine own unlucky case. And oft again with lookes that might bewray my griefe, I pleaded hard for just reward, and sought to find reliefe. What will you more? So oft my gazing eyes did seeke, to see the rose and lilly strive upon that lively cheeke, till at the last I spied, and by good proof I found, that in that face was painted plaine the piercer of my wound. Then all too late aghast, I did my foot retire, and sought with secret sighes to quench my greedy scalding fire. But lo, I did prevaile, as much to guide my will, as he that seekes with halting heel to hop against the hill. Or as the feeble sight would search the sunny beame, even so I found but labour lost, to strive against the streame. Then gan I thus resolve, since liking forced love, should I mislike my happy choice, before I did it prove? And since none other joy I had but her to see, should I retire my deep desire? No, no, it would not be, though great the duty were, that she did well deserve. And I poore man unworthy am, so worthy a wight to serve. Yet hope my comfort stayed, that she would have regard to my good will, that nothing craved, but like for just reward. I see the falcon gent sometime will take delight, to seeke the solace of her wing, and dally with a kite. The fairest wolfe will choose the foulest for her make, and why? Because he doth endure most sorrow for her sake. Even so had I like hope, when dolefull dayes were spent, when weary words were wasted well, to open true intent. When floods of flowing teares had washed my weeping eyes, when trembling tongue had troubled her with loud lamenting cries. At last her worthy will would pity this my plaint, and comfort me, her own poore slave, whom feare had made so faint. Wherefore I made a vow, the stony rock should start, ere I presume to let her slip out of my faithfull heart. L'Envoy. And when she saw by proof the pith of my good will, she tooke in worth this simple song, for want of better skill. And as my just deserts, her gentle heart did move, she was content to answer thus, I am content to love. F.J. By these verses he meant in clouds to decipher unto Mistresse Fraunces such matter as she would snatch at, and yet could take no good hold of the same. Furthermore, it answered very aptly to the note which the musique sounded, as the skilfull reader by due trial may approve. This singing daunce, or dauncing song ended, Mistresse Fraunces giving due thankes, seemed weary also of the company, and proffering to depart, gave yet this farewell to Ferdinando, not vexed by choler, but pleased with contentation, and called away by heavy sleep. I am constrained, quod she, to bid you good night, and so turning to the rest of the company, took her leave. Then the Master of the house commanded a torch to light Ferdinando to his lodging, where the sudden change of his Mistresse countenance, together with the strangenesse of Mistresse Fraunces talke, made such an encounter in his mind, that he could take no rest that night. Wherefore in the morning rising very early, although it were far before his Mistresse houre, he cooled his choler by walking in the gallery neere to her lodging, and there in this passion compiled these verses following. A cloud of care hath covered all my coast, and stormes of strife do threaten to appeare. The waves of woe, which I mistrusted most, have broke the bankes wherein my life lay cleare. Chippes of ill chance are fallen amid my choice, to marre the mind that ment for to rejoyce. Before I sought, I found the haven of hap, wherein once found I sought to shrowd my ship. But lowring love hath lift me from her lap, and crabbed lot begins to hang the lip. The props of dark mistrust do fall so thick, they pierce my coat and touch my skin at quick. What may be said, where truth can not prevaile? What plea may serve, where will it selfe is judge? What reason rules, where right and reason faile? Remediless then must the guiltlesse trudge, and seeke out care, to be the carving knife, to cut the thread that lingereth such a life. F.J. This is but a rough metre, and reason, for it was devised in great disquiet of mind, and written in rage. But to the matter. End of page 4.